Hi. So I thank you for listening to my speech, everybody. So let's do this. Okay. So public speaking or speaking in front of other people is something I struggle with throughout my whole life. Well, it stems from when I was a kid. I grew up in a military family and we moved around a lot. We went from South Carolina to other places like Ohio, Virginia, but my youngest childhood experiences were in Virginia. So I could say that I developed a unique skill of speaking fast with a southern mumble. So basically, I would spit my words out fast, but they were too low for you to understand them. And this plagued me throughout my younger years when I went to kindergarten and first grade, my entire elementary. And they constantly sent me to speech classes to get me to speak better. And at the same time, it was hindering my belief in myself if I could talk in front of other people. But eventually, I did get better. It took some time. And then I got to middle school and I had to work even further. But not until I hit college is where I really wanted to improve my speech. Basically, I took a public speaking class at my college. And I thought I could do better and I was going to do things, but unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. I ended up passing the class with a low C average because I had more doubt. Honestly, if I didn't have all that doubt, I would have done a lot better in class. But that's what happened. But so I want to say doubt isn't just a nervous feeling. It can be a spiritual issue. It can make you not be pleasing to God in certain ways. Doubt makes us act in ways not pleasing to God, I should say. And I find this in chapter 14 of Romans. And Paul talks about it. This chapter 14 in Romans, I called it the food chapter because Paul likes to talk about food. He's really saying that our hearts matter more than what we say or do. So, for example, he says some people, they give thanks to God to eat everything. And other people don't eat a lot and give their honor to them for not eating certain things, which is quite different between two people, and they shouldn't fight amongst them. But what I'm calling you to understand is in chapter 14, verse 23, Paul has one last sentence. He says everything that does not come from faith is sin. There we go. There's a sin. And it's a big issue in the world today. Meaning people doing things against their conscience. This is a really tough topic to speak about because people constantly debate about what is sin, but I see it as the Bible explaining it perfectly. Like I said, it's that confidence. And if you don't have confidence with faith and you do something contrary to your conscience, it's not good. So, for example, is you're supposed to believe in God, and you don't believe in what He says is true, and there's your doubt right there. And you're sitting because it talks a lot in the Bible about having faith. And then we can pull this closer to like dating. Like, you know, God is pushing yourself towards a certain person, and you're like, no, I'm not going to do it. I doubt that's the person for me, even though God's opened the door. Or you finally say, hey, I'll do it. I'll give God a chance. But you're not doing it in faith. You're just not having any confidence. You're doubting. And that's not good. And then there's people who have double minds. If you can continue from that point, as in people be like, oh, I'll date here and this person, that person. Well, basically you're pulled between what it says is worldly desires and faith. So basically you're dating based on those two ideas. Means like, I'll date somebody who may be a Christian. I think so. They might be lukewarm. And then other people, it's like, oh yeah, I'll date Christians too. Which is showing yourself doubting. And then another one is when you are like, you have a conviction and you have somebody who does not have that conviction, and you just go along with it for the sake of it, not to disturb somebody, just make them happy. So you're basically doing something, again, and doubting, because you don't have faith in it yourself. You're going against your conscience, which is not good. But the same thing can happen the other way. You can pull somebody along with you when dating and cause them to stumble, because you're causing them to go against their own conscience. Okay, so here's where I really want you to be encouraged. I want you to have spiritual certainty that you can do things without doubting. Have faith. Don't have the other way around. And you can stick to being faithful to God and have faith without doubting by reading His Word. His Word has tons of examples where it can encourage your faith and you not to doubt, because you have to believe that these are real things happening in the Bible to real people. And then you could reach out to other people. Other people have testimonies about their struggles, their doubts, and that can increase your faith. And along with people, you can pray. Prayer is one of the best things you can do to increase your faith. Pray by yourself, pray with other people, like I said. It's really good. So yeah, remember, doubting is a stumbling to faith. It's the opposite, and you need to not do things in doubt, which will cause you to sin against yourself and God. So we can also continue this by saying that I had issues when I was younger with this. For example, when I was out of high school, I was having the double-mindedness, and I kind of went with a girl. Well, I shouldn't say kind of. I did go out and date a girl who said she was a Christian, but I found out she was lukewarm, and she was doing things against what I believe would be true, against my conscience, and she pulled me in with her. But my grandma, she was like, well, if you really want to know if she's a Christian, you'll take her to church. And my grandma went to one of those Southern Pentecostal churches. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll see if she's a real Christian. So I drive to her house, pick her up, and she's like, what's going on here? was like, yeah, I take you to church. And you said you're a Christian. So we went inside, and the music was nice. People introduced themselves to her, and we thought everything was going to go great. But when the preaching came, people started raising their hands higher, and they started speaking louder in their praises. And she wasn't quite used to that. And honestly, I thought she'd probably never have experienced it at all. She'd probably been to church one time in her life. So that right there was shocking to her. And then when we had the after service, after preaching music, people were crying and people were just praising the Lord. She had enough of it. She couldn't stand any longer. She got up and she walked out, and I chased her and said, "What's going on?" She says, "This place is crazy." And she says, "Take me home." So I took her home. And then, not much after that, we broke up because she just didn't have that faithfulness. She probably doubted her own self. But I did learn over time, being single, that not to doubt God. Don't go against my conscience, because there's someone for me out there. And I know I use dating and stuff to help explain this. And I encourage you all to take that action and seek others' help and be full of faith and not doubt. Thanks.